understand how the ratios remain the same. Cos will always be adjacent over hypotenuse. Sine will always be opposite over hypotenuse. And tan will always be opposite over adjacent. However, the values may change depending on the angle. Alright. Does the angle change? That's our theta angle, that's our alpha angle. Okay. Alright, please write this down. Alright, do we have any questions on this?
Yes.
Alright, alpha is just a letter. I could call it A or B or whatever. Alpha is just a letter. Alright, and it means it's that angle. I'm just showing alpha to say it's that angle. I could say that's X and that's Y. Alright?
Oh.
Instead I used Greek letters and I say that's alpha and that's theta. Okay, any other questions? Alright, so I made up these numbers, the 8, the 6, and the 10. I made them up out of my head. Alright? And then I wrote them down in the ratios that they appear here. Guys, quiet please. Any other questions on this? Alright, what else do you want to know about this, which you're writing down now? Sorry? Yes. Okay, you guys happy?
Yes.
Alright.
Question. All this theta in this thing, does it make a difference when we calculate?
No. So theta is just, it's like X or Y. It's just standing in for something that you don't know. Alright. Theta, T-H-E-T-A. Alright, so if you look at your pack that I gave you, you have now gone through the first part of our pack, the first page. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at our calculator. So you guys should all have your calculators here today, because you wrote science.
We don't math.
Definitely more reason to have your calculators here today, if you wrote maths. Okay. So now, guys, quiet please. So if I say work out 2 cos 20, so I say calculate 2 cos 20. Alright, so guys, quiet please. So what I do if I want to calculate 2 cos theta is I say 2 cos 20. Cos 20 equals 1,87.
1,88. Isn't it around?
Yeah, 1,88. Okay, so you guys see how I did that? 1,88. So guys, quiet please, you literally type it into your calculator like you see it on the board. 2 cos 20. Into the setting problem. Alright guys, so does that make sense?
Yes.
Alrighty. So next, what we're going to do it's a setting on your calculator. I'll show you later. Alright guys, so now, if I say that, if I give you an example, so I actually take an example from your textbook, make it a bit easier. a triangle that looks like this. Has a right angle. Right. If I have a triangle that looks like this, I've got H, I've got G, and I've got F. 114. Alright, and this is 23 degrees, and this is 20. Alright, I say calculate FG. How would you calculate FG? So I'd say that's my opposite. I've got my hypotenuse, right? So I need my opposite over hypotenuse. If I want opposite over hypotenuse, it's sine. So sine 23 is equal to my opposite, which is FG over 20.
20 times 23.
So then I say 20 sine 23 is equal to FG. Alright guys, quiet please. People sleeping, wake up. Okay. So you see how I've done that? I don't times 23 by 20, I times the whole of that by 20. Because there's actually a bracket over there. So all of this has to be times by 20. So then I can get my value for FG. FG is equal to 7,81. Alright. Then my next question is calculate. This is 1, 2. Calculate G. Calculate the angle G. Alright, so how do we calculate the angle G? Yeah.
Isn't it 90 degrees?
Yes.
And then you have to do it through, so you just subtract 40.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright. So G is 67 degrees. Alright. Now we calculate FH. Alright, so now what I'm actually going to say is instead of calculating FH, I'm going to say calculate G using trigonometric ratios.
Oh, man, you're putting it that way because it would probably be like this in the exam.
Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Alright, so on your calculator, if you guys look at your calculator, you look above the sign button, you'll have a sign -1. Do you see that? So that means you have to press shift and then you get sign -1. Try it. Do you guys get it? Alright, so you press shift and then sign and you'll be given sign -1. So if I say sign -1, then I can take this ratio and get my degrees. Okay, that's how I use sign -1. I take my ratio and get my degrees. So, -1 is equal to, I'll write on the board. And then, so guys, if I go here and I want to calculate theta, I'll go cos -1, 8 over 10, and it'll give me what the angle theta is. Alright, so theta here. I know, guys, there's no theta on your calculator. What you do is if I want to calculate what theta is, they say calculate the angle theta. I go to my calculator, I go shift, cos. It'll give me cos to the -1. And I say 8 over 10 equals 36,86. That is the degree size of theta. You'll see, if I do it with sine, it'll come out with the same thing. So now I'm going to do it with sine. I'm going to say shift sine. Now it gives me sine to -1. I'll go 6 over 10. Gives me 36 degrees. It's the same again. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then if I go tan, shift tan. Now I got tan to -1. I go 6 over 8. Gives me 36 degrees. So I use this -1 to calculate my degrees from my fraction, from my ratio. Alright, so I'm going to write a little note here. Alright, there's your little note. So now, let's go back to number 3. Guys, quiet please. Listen in. Alright, so how do we calculate G using trigonometric ratios? Alright, how do we calculate G using trigonometric ratios? So G, so we have this one and we have this. This is 7,81. So we can say tan G is equal to, it'll be our adjacent over our opposite. Now I've gotten myself confused.
Yes.
Sorry. Alright, so if we want to calculate G, then we use our cos. Cos G is equal to our 7,81.
Then how do you know whether you must use like cos or sin?
Okay, so how do I know whether I must use cos, sine, or tan? It's because I look at my angle here. Alright, that is my opposite. Okay? This is my adjacent. And this is my hypotenuse. My hypotenuse always remains my hypotenuse. So it depends what I got. So I've got adjacent and hypotenuse. So when I have adjacent and hypotenuse, I use cos.
Also, maybe you must know these rules.
You have to know these off by heart.
So,
Okay?
No, but you see, like for example, tan also is adjacent opposite.
Exactly. So, guys, so tan has adjacent and opposite, but I don't have opposites. I have hypotenuse. Okay. Alright, so now I say cos -1.
Okay, look. Yes.
G. If you have a question, put up your hand. I'm happy to answer. Yeah?
But look at the first diagram. Now G is alpha.
Sorry? Yeah, these are 67.01. Alright. Any questions about what we've done so far? Guys? Any questions? Yeah. Alright, any questions? Alright, so I want you guys all to try what I've done on the board on your calculator. If you get a different answer to me, you need to put your hand up. Alright, otherwise there's something wrong with your calculation and I need to fix it now.